He loves to get the ball out quick, within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, more often than not. Loves to throw behind the line of scrimmage, screen passes here and there. Loves to, kind of use the passing game as an extension of the run game, you may say.
I don't think Bo Nix is necessarily the designated game manager. If you watch, especially that second um, game against Washington, he was playing to win that game. And
Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Zuckerberg Merkel, here at the coast today. Aaron, go and say hi, Aaron.
hi, if you like our content, be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
But other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So in this video, we'll be taking a look at one of the most forgotten quarterback prospects in the upcoming 2024 NFL Draft. Bo Nix out of Oregon, formerly from Auburn, started off in high school.
Is his first name Bosef?
I have no idea. I just made that up. But anyways, before getting to Auburn at high school, Bo Nix recorded 10,393 passing yards with 127 passing touchdowns throughout his high school career, where he became the third-ranked quarterback out of high school, behind just Spencer Rattler and Jaden Daniels. You may have heard of both of them, both in this upcoming draft as well. One of them kind of fallen off. The other one, still right there. But at Auburn, he struggled a little bit, Bo Nix did, throwing for only 59% completion percentage, 39 touchdowns to 16 interceptions, and averaged less than 2,500 passing yards a season during his, I believe, 3 years at Auburn. But that just wasn't doing it for Bo Nix. So what does he do? He transfers, goes coast to coast.
And man, going coast to coast.
Basically. Auburn's not quite on the coast, but it's close enough. Goes coast, kind of, to coast.
And man, going coast to coast.
The Oregon Ducks, where Bo Nix becomes
Gulf Coast to
Pacific
Coast?
Northwest coast.
And man, going coast to coast.
Where he joins the Oregon Ducks, becomes their starting quarterback. And in his 2 seasons, throws for 75% completion percentage, 74 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions, while also throwing for over 4,000 yards a season, averaging. But not only that, but in the process, this last 2023 football season, Bo Nix broke Mac Jones' record for the highest completion percentage in a single season, with 77.44%, which is just absolutely stellar. However, in a season where almost 30% of his throws were behind the line of scrimmage, some people are saying, does Bo Nix have the arm talent to play at the next level? I'm not really saying that, but some people probably are. Aaron, what are kind of your thoughts on Bo Nix now that I've kind of broken down his football story over the last half decade or so? What do you think of Bo Nix as an NFL prospect going into the 2024 draft?
He's probably at about his ceiling as far as physical talent goes. I don't think he necessarily needs a lot of polish. I think he's got good footwork. He's got good arm talent. So everything for him, I think, is going to come between the ears. As far as his career at Auburn goes, if you kind of believe what his family says, I mean, obviously, I think his dad was a quarterback at Auburn, so he grew up wanting to be a quarterback at Auburn. So they say that he put a lot of pressure on himself while he was there. Not to mention Auburn wasn't the best while he was there. So transferring away took some of that stress out of his life and allowed him to kind of perform up to his abilities. So I think that's probably a plus for him. The whole transfer situation. Yeah, I think he's a solid prospect.
Yeah, I've heard that another big reason he may not have worked out in Auburn as well as he did in Oregon was the system just wasn't really for him. It didn't fit his play style of quarterback. He's a quarterback that really thrives off of being on time, making on time throws, kind of more of a scripted offense than maybe a paint outside the lines kind of situation. In Auburn, it was just kind of like, oh, Bo Nix, you're really really talented. Have at it. See what you can do. Whereas at Oregon, I feel like he had a lot more structure in the offensive system, to where it was more like, okay, you throw here on this play, you throw here on this play, you look here, then you look here. More of a structured system than maybe Auburn was running. And I may be totally wrong on that, but that's kind of the way I understood it. As well as that pressure that you mentioned too of trying to live up to his dad's name. So definitely, I think we saw more of what to expect of him at the pro level in Oregon than maybe we did at Auburn. I think there's a lot of raw potential with Bo Nix. You said that he kind of met a ceiling physically. Sure, physically, I think maybe he's met a ceiling, but I think he's got a lot, left to learn as far as being an NFL caliber quarterback. And I think being in the right system, I think even more so than another quarterback we talked about this week, Jaden Daniels, I think even more so than him, Bo Nix really needs to get drafted into a system that is committed to him, committed to nurturing his development, whatever that may be. And in my opinion, I think because there are some similarities, and we'll get into pro comps in a second, to a Drew Brees, I think the Broncos with Sean Payton would be a great situation for Bo Nix. Obviously, you'd maybe like to have some better receiving talent around him when he gets started, not just Cortland Sutton, because they traded Jerry Jeudy. But I do think that Sean Payton runs a system that Bo Nix could thrive in. So, what are kind of your thoughts before getting into pro comps on what Bo Nix needs to succeed at the next level?
Yeah, just because of his play style. I mean, he needs to not be in a. Obviously, no one wants to be in a real bad situation with a real bad team. I, I I agree that he doesn't need to be thrust into where a team where he has to make all the plays. I think he does need a good offense kind of around him. Um, I, I kind of like the idea of him going to Broncos and Sean Payton. I think that's probably part of the reason why um, the Payton and Wilson marriage didn't really work out, because Russell Wilson likes to kind of buy time, extend plays, do his
Paint
own
outside
thing.
the lines.
Whereas Payton with Drew Brees, it was all on time, on schedule. So I think that's a real good fit for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously we just kind of mentioned it already, but as far as pro comps go, a lot of people have been comparing him to potentially like a Drew Brees type with the play style he runs. Now, me personally, I don't really think his ceiling is quite that high uh, because I do think physically he's kind of capped out. I don't think he's going to have, one of the strongest arms in the league. I'm not saying Drew Brees did, but he could let it loose when he really needed to from time to time. We just never got to
It's
see
more
it.
so the accuracy comparison
Yeah,
for those two, I think,
yeah,
in my mind.
yeah, and I agree with that to an extent. Um, a lot of his throws took place around the line of scrimmage, within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, probably. So I also see the comparisons there. Obviously, Drew Brees threw a lot of slant routes and out routes and stuff. Excuse me, and stuff like that during his latter years in New Orleans. But another quarterback that loved the check down, Aaron, and you and I both know as Chiefs fans how much this man Love to throw the check down. I see a lot of Alex Smith in Bo Nix. He loves to get the ball out quick, within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, more often than not. Loves to throw behind the line of scrimmage, screen passes here and there. Loves to, kind of use the passing game as an extension of the run game, you may say. Similar to an Alex Smith especially during his time with the Chiefs. When Alex Smith had that offensive system that with structure that Andy Reid runs, he thrived. I think the same could be said for Bo Nix. He gets into that offensive system that has the right structure. The dude could thrive. But what is kind of your comparison for Bo Nix at the NFL level?
I really like that Alex Smith comparison as far as physically. Alex Smith, he could move a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't necessarily scared to run.
Mm-hmm.
Accurate guy. I think they have different mentalities. Alex Smith, I don't think Bo Nix is necessarily the designated game manager. If you watch especially that second game against Washington, he was playing to win that game, and he never really got the chance to go back out on the field and answer. But time and time again, it was drive for drive. It was one of the best games of the season. So I don't necessarily agree with the Alex Smith comparison as far as mentality goes, but as far as like the physical and kind of the way they move and operate, yeah, I think he's got a little bit more go get it mentality, and not necessarily will check it down if it's like 4th and 10, and
A little more
he'll check
killer
it down
instinct.
to. Yeah, I think he's the type of guy that'll go for that first down, throw it 15 yards downfield as opposed to a little check down swing route to the running back.
That was so frustrating. Yeah, what's your comp then? I'm curious.
I the Drew Brees one, just the way they play,
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying that's his ceiling, but I like that. I kind of like Kurt Warner. That one kind of sticks out to me as well. But yeah, just kind of like the accurate guys. He's kind of more of a pocket passer, not necessarily saying he can't get out on the move. Maybe like a Baker Mayfield, get him out on a rollout. That type of kind of player.
Okay.
That's kind of in my mind.
Yeah, I think on the lower end of the spectrum, I probably have him resembling like a Blake Bortles, another quarterback that could kind of run a little bit. Maybe not quite as accurate as an Alex Smith, but I do think that Bo Nix is either going to be extremely accurate, one of the more accurate quarterbacks in football, or it could end up being a situation where maybe he develops not exactly the yips, but maybe a little bit of a wilder arm than maybe we saw, kind of like at Auburn, where he struggled to throw for 60% completion. I think that could, if he's in the wrong system, like I said, I think that could maybe rear its ugly head. But
I don't think he's gonna fail because of a lack of arm talent. I think if he doesn't succeed, I think it's gonna be he's expected to do too much too fast, probably,
right, the wrong
and it's
team
gonna be
drafts him basically.
kind of be between the ears. Like the offense doesn't necessarily mesh with what he likes to do.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I mean, in my opinion, that's as simple as just will the right team draft him. So I think that'll be a big determining factor in his success as an NFL quarterback. But unless you got anything else, I think that'll do it for this episode of the Most Unprofessional Sports Channel on YouTube. So, cheers, sports. I've been your host, Zach Zuckerberg Burkle. Here's my coach today, Aaron. Go and say bye, Aaron.
Bye.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Other than that, deuces.